And it starts with a story. And the story is about an old gentleman, about 90 years old, who wondered his whole life if there was anybody out there that had been free of adversity. And through 80 years, 85 years, 88 years, he didn't find anybody. And he said, you know, before I'm done on this earth, I am going to, as long as my body will last, I'm going to continue this journey and this research of mine until I can either say yes or no. He spent the last 2 years of his life going house to house. He had an old tattered notebook, and he kept all the results in there of the homes he went to, what had happened in those homes, and he would come back defeated almost at the end of the day and say, no, I didn't find anybody. He came down to the very last day. He said, I'm going to give it one more day. He did, and as you can imagine, he couldn't find anybody. So I want to briefly cover 4 truths with you on adversity. These truths come from my personal and professional life, although I'm not going to tell you my story. I'm going to tell it to you, though, within these 4 truths. The first truth is that nobody is exempt. And I'm talking about everything from a stub toe to the most horrific tragedy, and unfortunately, we've probably all had one of those. Now, why me? More than one of those in our life. The things that have occurred in the course of my life, some of them were just life stuff. There are things that happened that I had no control of. My family, my wife and I had no control of whatsoever. Those things happen. When you're involved in a job, when you're involved in coaching at the collegiate level, it could just be any day, and they drop the bomb on you, all right? If it has to do with your family. In 1992, I was at practice at Miami of Ohio, and a campus security guard came up from the south end of the arena, and I'm down on the baseline coaching, and I see him coming, and I'm really involved in what I'm doing, and all of a sudden there he is. I'm like, hey, what's up? We're in the middle of practice, and he just looked at me very adamantly and said, no, are you Coach Brown? He said, you need to come with me. And I blew him off again, and then he said, in no uncertain terms, let's go. And I knew I was supposed to go with him. So I walk off the practice floor and follow him to a squad car, and he takes me up the hill in Oxford, Ohio. And when he turned right on a particular street, I knew exactly what was going on. And he took me to the hospital in Oxford, Ohio. And there in the emergency room was my 4-year-old and 1-day daughter who had passed. I saw her less than 2 hours before this when I left home and wrote a grocery list of some things she wanted. I never got to speak to her again. Now, I didn't cause that one. I've really had to dig deep in my faith to figure out that I'm not going to know the answer to that one. And I'm good with that. I quit asking why. That's only part of it, though, because it happened again in 1998 to our second daughter, who was 3.5 years old, Natalie. Same thing, same disease, as rapid as the first one happened. Those things I can't control. But what I can tell you, and the reason that I like to speak on this topic, is that my choice of how I was going to handle those things was not the right way to handle them. And all they did is cause more pain, more heartache, and more adversity in the life of my parents, my family, my wife, my friends, and the people I was close to. I caused an awful lot of pain. I can tell you, because I didn't take the things I've done and the things it's caused, maybe, okay? But I want you to be able to maybe take some tangible things, some seeds with you. And one of them is this thing, and I really want you to think about, where are those times where you react that you really didn't need to, and your proper, more mature, wise response would have been the one where you take a step back, and I mean physically take a step back. I got to myself to the point where I physically take a step back, and then I just contemplate, What is it that is in front of me, and what is the most proper response? If your child's supposed to be in at midnight and it's 12:20 and you're waiting for him and that door closes, what's the next thing out of your mouth? If you're in an office situation and your boss comes to you and maybe shares some information on a project that you just did, or maybe an evaluation, and it isn't anything like what you thought you were going to get, and the second he leaves, is it a reaction or is it a response? And you know what? The magic is in the response. It's not in the reaction. If you are anything like me, the words that come to my mind, the reactions that hit me, the redness in the face immediately are because I want to react and get even. I'm defensive. I can't be wrong. He must be wrong. On and on and on. And you know, when we raise kids, boy, what an interesting situation that is for react versus respond, because kids react and respond too. Yesterday I spoke in Carroll and I was talking about how difficult it is for young people. I think it's always been difficult for young people, but today it is difficult because just of the sheer number of choices that they have. Okay, whether it be entertainment, you know, whether it be, you know, we got our phones and we have our computers, and there's just too much, I think. And our kids have unbelievable amount of choices. But also, you know, if they're in a relationship or within their family, was speaking about the number of choices that young people have every single day. And are they quick to respond, or are they going to step back and make a wiser, more mature decision? And I think it's easy to get after young people about, well, you know, you should have thought about it before you did it. You know, I'm sure we probably all said that. But someone could say that to us too. But there happened to be the superintendent of schools in Carroll that was there, and he came up afterwards. He says, boy, you really hit it on the head there. He said, those kids make a lot of decisions every single day. And a lot of times, they are forming a pattern of how to react to someone, either in a one-on-one situation or in a group situation. And that is so true.